welcome back to Good Day State Line. DIY projects are trendier than ever, but how do you save money while you're DIYing your outdoor spaces? Tonight we're chatting with HGTV's Sara Bendrick on how we can spruce up our space without breaking the bank. Hi, Sara.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I can kind of see you there in all of that amazing outdoor space that you're showing off.
I know, isn't it so luscious?
It really is. All right, so take us through this. How can a DIY homeowner, save money while we're working on these incredible projects?
Sure, so there's a lot of ways to save money. There's a lot of ways to save money with your landscape, and what I like to suggest to my clients and people that I meet is to take in your landscape as a whole, because a lot of times people get excited about things they see online and they focus in on one element, but if you're looking at your space as a whole, you can allocate most of your money to the most important part of the landscape. So say you have a patio or something like that, so you can finish the rest of your yard. But another thing that you need to be right now in this economy is flexible, because material prices are all over the board. It's hard to get a hold of contractors right now, and being flexible with materials is probably the key to being a happy homeowner right now. So for example, when lumber prices were super high, I was suggesting to my clients, well, you want privacy? Let's do a screen wall with these live plants, which are made out of plastic recycled bottles, and you put your 1-gallon plants in there. Or if you still want that privacy and just a nice green solid effect, you can plant a hedge, and this will give you the same effect as a fence in terms of privacy, but it's a whole lot greener and a lot prettier in my opinion. And if you're gonna install things like these, you wanna make sure that you're gonna maintain them, because there's nothing worse than installing your landscape and letting it go. So I've been working with Steel. This is their AK series of battery powered tools. They're awesome. One battery will work from the blower to the hedger if you wanted to hedge these things and then blow it off. And then of course, if you wanted to cut anything down and make some cute little lanterns, you could use the chainsaw with the same battery, which is super cool.
Wow, that is a really cool tool, and I really like your tip about basically creating your own fence out of nature instead of waiting for the materials to show up. But You're right, if you don't water them, it's going to look worse than a real fence. So you got to take care of that step.
Yeah, like the hedge fence, once that's in, that's going to be super easy. And I think that aesthetically, I've welcomed the changes that the pandemic has brought in terms of being creative with your landscape.
So what are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen people make, and how can we make sure that doesn't happen to us?
Oh yeah, so one other thing I wanted to talk about is big DIY mistakes that people make. And so when it comes to picking the right projects, you want to consider your skill level. So some people putting in a patio might be DIY for them, but for a lot of people that might be out of their range. If you're not sure, I'd suggest talking with a landscape contractor or a designer and getting their feedback, because they're going to be able to come to your space and give you tips on certain things, and you can decide whether you want to do it yourself or maybe hire it out. And those are all very personal things depending on your skill level. So you might decide, you know what, the patio might be beyond me, but I could install this wall, and that's going to make a really beautiful patio.
I think that's such a great tip, and especially, we're obviously still in a pandemic, but not to the effect that we were, a year and a half ago, when it was really either do it yourself or don't do it. Now we kind of do have that option where you can figure out, can we do something ourselves, or should we call someone? Maybe a mix of both. So we're sitting in a better spot now when it comes to choosing what to do.
Oh, we totally are, and I'm so excited in this time. People are happy to be outside and investing their time or resources in these spaces. If you've noticed, outdoor living spaces have just gone bananas lately. Everyone's doing them, and so creating those patio spaces that bring people outside, those can cost at different levels too. For example, adding a fire pit, which is very on trend right now because it brings people to the outdoor space. You could use a wood-burning one like this that you plop onto an existing patio, or you can go build one out of stone and pull the gas line, but that's going to be a little more expensive. So you can do similar things at different prices, but get the same kind of effect. And then when it comes to the outdoor living, adding those personal touches, such as these log light holders that have these solar lights and the planters over here, those are all small things that you can do to really add that extra charm to your outdoor space. And I can show you exactly how to build them if you check out DIYtipswithsara.com, and that's Sara without an H.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Sara without an H, for joining us today. Coming up next on GDS, we got our pizza, we got our non-alcoholic wine. Alyssa, who's expecting a baby boy in January, is joining us next for Let's Try It. Don't go anywhere.